A recent 2020 study showed greater hamstrings growth with seated leg curls over lying leg curls across a 12-week training study. So if we're given the option to do only one, I pretty much always favor seated leg curls these days. And because this difference seems to be related to the higher degree of stretch you get on the hamstrings with the seated variation, I'll accentuate this effect by leaning forward over the machine throughout the set.
So after watching this video, you might be getting convinced that seated is way much better. You know what? I got a more stretch, better for my muscle. So me grow more hamstring. No, it's wrong. You're not gonna get more hamstrings. It's not because of the stretch. I'm gonna explain to you why. Your hamstring is not one head, of course. Most of you know that. It's multiple heads. And you're trying to grow a specific head, usually, when you're doing the seated hamstring curl or the lying one, which is the bicep femoris, and that muscle is only responsible for bending the knee. So no matter how much you lean forward, it's not gonna get any extra stretch. You could freaking fold like a goddamn chair, okay? And you're not gonna get extra stretch on that. You see my problem here? So, okay, you might be like, okay, I'm not gonna grow that bicep femoris, but I'm gonna grow the whole hamstring bigger, and I'm gonna get more gains on the other heads. But the problem here is you're limiting the bicep femoris, because it will not be the first muscle to fail when you're doing hamstring curl. It's gonna be the other heads, because you stretch the other heads and put them in a more disadvantaged position. When you want to grow your biceps long head, the one that is attached to your shoulder, what do? You put your arms behind your back, so you stretch it and put it in the disadvantaged position. So it fails first, and the other head of your biceps might or might not go to failure, but you don't care. It got some stimulus, sure, but you emphasize the long head. And you gotta use the same logic with your... And you gotta use the same logic with your hamstring. If you're doing the seated and you lean forward so much, and the other heads fail, then the bicep femoris is not going to be growing, or not going to be growing the most. And it kind of creates some exercise redundancy to some degree, because you're doing hip hinges, you're frying the hamstring heads that are responsible for hip hinging, but you do nothing to the one bending your knee. Then when you do a seated hamstring curl, what happens, you have the same muscles and with a bit of bicep femoris. And that's why I think lying hamstring curl is way much better than a seated one. I'm not saying it doesn't have its place in programs. It definitely does. But trying to put it on a pedestal over the lying one is what pisses me off. Because I've seen some people putting the hamstring curl seated over the lying one, even though the lying hamstring curl actually is better in a program. The lying hamstring curl have place in more programs than the seated one. That's why I prefer doing lying hamstring curl all the time over the seated one. And right now I'm not doing lying or seated because I'm trying to get one leg Nordic. But basically, it is a lying hamstring curl. And I think my hamstring is one of my strong body parts, honestly. Don't believe it? Let me show you. Let me just stand on the chair and hope I don't fall and break my neck. Oh boy, this is not safe for work. If anybody's watching from work. Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking break them. Oh my god. Jeez. Look at them hamstring, okay? Look at them legs. Don't tell me I don't know how to grow hamstrings. Okay? Man, look at them fucking horse legs. And I still can't do one leg Nordic curl. Jeez. But the journey continues anyway. For the past few months, for people who are interested, oh boy, I didn't break my neck. That's good. For people who are interested, I've not made much progress. I was playing with the form. I've definitely made it cleaner. But that's, we're getting off topic here. I guess that's it for the video. I showed you proof that I know how to grow hamstrings because, you know, people with bigger muscle always know more. The bigger the muscle, the more you know. That's how it works. And it's just, if you're interested in coaching, link in the description. Give me your money! Money! Give me!